Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and I'll be your instructor for this video tutorial series. And we're going to be talking about how to UV map a short sleeve shirt, and we'll be using UDM tiles. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to take and transfer this button's UVs to this button. Okay. It's very simple, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to select the button that has the UVs. I'm going to hold down the space bar and go to Mesh and Transfer Attributes. Go into the option box. I want to reset the attributes. And under Attribute Settings, I want to change the sample space from World to Component. What this allows me to do is no matter what angle that these buttons are, that it will transfer these attributes to this one. So I'm going to go and Shift Select. Okay, I'm going to hit the Q key. I'm going to Shift Select this button here. Okay, as you can see, it shows up here, and I'm going to click on Transfer. All right, great. Okay, I'm going to move down. I'm going to click Shift Select this button, and I'm going to hit the G key. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and select this button and hit the G key. And what that's doing is that it's allowing me to recreate that same tool and apply it to every single one. So now I've got this button, this button, this button, and this button. All the UVs have transferred all the way down because I clicked on Component. It transferred even if these buttons are in a different space, which they are, and rotated in a different manner. Okay, which is very, very cool and powerful. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is the same thing with our objects. Look, are these guys right here. So this is a little different. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine these because these are one texture map. So I'm going to combine them. So I'm going to go hold down the space bar and go to Mesh Combine. Okay, I'm going to go down this row. Okay, so I'm going to click on these guys and do a Mesh Combine. So I'm going to hit the G key because that will combine the meshes. And if it didn't work, then I can go to Mesh Combine. Okay, I'm going to scroll down and click on these guys and hit the G key. That should combine them, and do the same thing with these guys right here. Again, I don't want to select anything else accidentally. Okay, the G key basically remembers your last action as far as the tool goes. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing with this guy right here. I'm going to select that. It should be combined, so I need to combine that. So I'm going to hit the G key, combine that, so that when I click on it, it should select it. Okay, which is what it does. Again, I'm going to double check these, make sure that, yep, okay, looks good. Okay, so I'm going to take this guy right here, have it selected, go into Mesh and Transfer Attributes. Okay, go in here and you can see that I've got everything set up right. Then I'm going to just kind of move down to the other. I'm going to hold the Shift key down, click on this one, and then I'm going to click on Transfer. Okay, I'm going to move down, select the next group, hold the Shift key, click on those, and hit G. I'm going to move down, find my other group, hold the Shift key, and select them. Whoops, wrong one. So I've got to go ahead and hold the Shift key and select these instead, and then deselect those. Now this could cause a problem. I don't know. We'll see. I accidentally selected something else without, selecting the one I was supposed to, but I'm going to try it anyway and hit the G key, and it worked. All right, so all of those have now been UV mapped. The transfer has been complete, so that can save you a lot of time. Now you're asking yourself, well, those are all overlaid on top of each other. That's true. So if you do have problems, I'm going to let it go. But if you do have problems with the shirt not getting into Substance Painter properly, then you can look at separating these out into its own UDIM tiles, or putting all your buttons into one UDIM tile. It's up to you how you want to do it. That's how you would fix it if it sees it. But because these are duplicates, and if I click off and I click on one button and then shift select another button, they're perfectly UV mapped, right? It's not like I did it manually. So it should not have a problem with those overlaying each other. Okay? Just to let you know. All right, so that's how you transfer. Let's go ahead and move on to what we need to do next. So now we're going to go ahead and select everything, and we want to combine it. So let's go ahead to mesh and combine. And that'll combine all our pieces together, that's creating our UDIM tile UV maps. So we're good to go. So the next thing we want to do is select the object and go to delete by type history. So it's going to delete all the history we have so far. It's not going to delete anything here in with the UV maps. Okay. And if you're still concerned about these UVs being too large, you can scale them however you want. I'm just leaving them. No big deal. All right. So with that said, again, this is just an example. Normally, I would not separate these out, but since we're using UDIM tiles, it doesn't really matter. Texture resolution and textile densities between these two doesn't really matter, because as long as this textile density in this UDIM tile matches that particular object, and these are, I would call, not microscopic, but these are very small pieces, and so having them larger in their own UV UDIM tile will be fine. Okay. Now, if it was a patch, if I had a name tag or a patch, it still wouldn't matter what the UDIM tiles are, because it's a different material and it's a different object. But if I had another piece, if I added a piece like a pocket, then the UDIM, then I'd want to have that, and it would share the same material. I would probably want to give it, have the textile density to be the same and put it in here. Okay, I'm just trying to reiterate why I have a textile density larger on these two pieces. Okay, just to kind of explain that. You don't get confused that way. All right, so now we're good to go. Now we're ready to get this set up to send out. I do want to reiterate that you cannot have any of these UV shells touching the outer edge. They have to be inside and they can't be overlapping. Again, with that said, it's okay to overlap duplicate if you do transfer UVs, and yes, there are duplicates, 4 of them over top of each other, but they're sharing the same UV, so that will work just fine. And the same thing with transferring UVs from one object to another with the stitching to hold the buttons on, so that is okay. We're good with that. Just make sure everything is within UV tiles. Okay, you cannot have UV tiles. For example, you can't have UV tiles over top of each other. Okay, over top of another UV tile. Okay, they got to be within its own UV tile. Okay. All right, so we're good to go. Now we need to do a snapshot. Okay, so we're going to need to make sure this object is in object mode. That's really important. So object mode. Okay, I'm going to hit the Q key. I don't have any translations, and everything's good. We've got center pivot. We've done the delete history. We've freeze transformations. Everything is zeroed out. So now we're ready to send this out on its way. So I'm going to go in here to UV snapshot. Okay. So in the UV snapshot, what that does is going to send out a picture of this, the UDIM tile setup that we have. We need to do this before we send our object out, exporting. We have to do this before exporting or saving our project. Okay, so we want to go into browse. Where are we putting this? Okay, So I gotta remember where I've got it. This is in this file here. Okay, it's in the images folder, which is fine. And I'm gonna go ahead and name this. So whatever I wanted to name it, it can be something like shirt, right? UV. Okay. And I'm going to save that. So shirt UV. Just got to remember that's what I called it and where I put it. Okay. All right. Good. And then I want to make sure that it is a PNG. That's important. I want it to be, because these are very high resolution, I'm using Unum tiles, I can do a 2048. That's fine. If you feel that if you go through the process and you want it to be a higher resolution, you can do that in you know, and come back and redo this if you want to. But we're going to keep it at 2040 by 2048. How many Unum tiles do we have in the U? Okay, so we've got a horizontal, which is the U, and then we got vertical, which is the V. Okay, so horizontal this way. How many do we have? We have 3. So under U, we have 3. Okay, now in vertical, we just have 1. We haven't gone up to the second level yet, so that would be 2, but we haven't done that. So if you have just 3 Unum tiles, or even 10 Unum tiles, it would still be 1 Unum tile, because we've got 10 across, and then we start back on 11, and then over. Okay, so if you're using just 11, or 10, that's fine. You have then a set of 1. But if you go up into this set up here and go across again after you've 10, you go to 11 and 12, 13, 14, 15, then you would have 15 and then 2. Okay, just to let you know how that works. Okay, great. Everything's good. So you apply and close. It will save it. It did everything. That's great. It did everything it was supposed to do. And then we can close this now. All right, so now we want to save our shirt out, because we're going to go ahead and bring this out. Now you can have your whole entire body, right, in its own Unum tile. You can have its own Unum set. If you want to bring everything into Substance Painter, then you would lay all the UVs out as Unum tiles. Okay, and then combine everything together if you want to texture everything out at once. But I like to texture things separately. That's me. I want to keep things separate, like the shirt separate from the pants, separate from the shoes, separate from the body, separate from the hair, separate from all the accessories that I have. Okay, I'm going to have everything separated. That's how I work. That's my workflow. Okay, so to keep it simple. So now I'm going to go to File, Export Selection. This is the only thing that's selected. Export Selection. Okay. I need to go into the option box, right? Okay, so File, Export Selection into the option box. That way I can make sure I have OBJ selected. Okay, Export Selection. And this is going to be my shirt. Okay, so it's going to be shirt. Okay, and this is going to be export. Okay, then underscore whatever. So let's say export Substance Painter, right? SP. So I want it to go into SP. Now I'm gonna export. Now just gonna put this out here. So let's say you export the OBJ and you bring it into Substance Painter and it gives you all kinds of errors. Something's wrong with your shirt. What you can do is there's a couple things you can do. You can bring it into Zbrush, like I showed you in class, where you import it and then export it out again. And you might have to, I don't know if your UVs will still be there, right? So we can try it. I can show you. So you can do the OBJ export that I showed you for Substance Painter, right? Give it a try, see if it works. If not, then you can do what I'm going to do now, which I'm going to go and open up Zbrush. So let's open up Zbrush. Just happen to have a professional copy, which I paid a lot of money for, by the way. You guys will be paying like $10 a month for 6 months, I think you can use it for. So I'm not sure if I'm up to date. What version do I have? 2022.0.5. That's what I've got. Okay, so anyway, you can go into an import, but let's go ahead and hide this. Go to import scenes, and where are you at? Jacket, shirt. There it is. I guess I just overlooked it. Sorry about that. Probably edit that. All right, so you can see it there, right there. We didn't get any weird errors. If you get a weird error, just go ahead and click on triangles and let it do what it wants to do with it. Because we're just gonna bring it into Substance Painter, right? We're not going to bring it back into Maya and use it. So click on, just draw it out with hold down your left mouse button, draw it out. Keep holding it. Once you let it go and you do another one, that's not going to work. Okay, let's go back. So draw it out one time and hit the T key, just T. Okay, and I can hit the F key for focus. And if I want to rotate around it, I can. Anyway, there's nothing special here. We're not going to paint on it. We're not going to do folds. We're not going to subdivide it, which you really could and have a lot of fun with it. It would be really fun and cool to add more folds. This is what I used to add folds and do what I did here with Zbrush. Zbrush is pretty cool. Anyway, we just want to import it, clean it up, and then export it. And we've already cleaned it, so export it back out again. And this could be, now let's go to and add something like Zbrush, right? And then underscore export. Okay, and that's what we do. That's it. Cool. And then we can close this. We've done what we wanted to do. And then we're going to go into Substance Painter, and let's make sure we get everything set up. I'm not going to take you through painting. That will be another series of videos, okay? But I want to get you in here. So File, and we want to click on New, and we want to make sure we click on the first one, and we want to select our file, which is going to be my, oh, that's not it. Not in the right one here. I see spring, there we go. And then our scenes, and then we have our shirt. Since I know I don't have any errors in there, I'm going to click on the one that says Export XP. And that's selected. Then we go to 2024 because we're using Udem tiles. And because we're using Udem tiles, I make sure I click on Use UV Tile Workflow. And I want to, and it's on this one, but I want to make sure we have Convert UV Tiles into Individual UV Sets Legacy. Click OK. And there we are. So this is the beauty of Udem tiles. It's absolutely fantastic, and I swear by them, and that's all I use now, because when I go in here, I can go and turn that off and on. I know that layer. See that this layer here is connected to this layer here. This layer here has got a new layer for that one, and that one looks like the buttons. And then 1003 is the thread in the button. So you can see if I zoom into this, and I can move around in Maya like I do in Maya. I can move around in Substance Painter like I do Maya. You can see that 1002 is the button and 1003 is the thread that holds the button. Isn't that cool? And then each one of these has its own layer, which is very cool. Okay, great. You can open this up to see more of your Udem tiles. Okay, so you can see 1001, 1002, 1003. It's everything we did in Maya. Very cool. Everything's laid out nicely. Okay. With that said, with that done, you can start applying textures, and that will be in my next video for the next module. Okay? I just wanted to get you in here, and everything is working. Everything looks good. So that's it for this video, and have fun.